Well, as some of you might have deduced by now, we got the 67 back together. I had a bunch of footage of putting the transmission back together, but suffice it to say it's all pretty lame footage, and I'm not going to bore anybody with any of the specifics, but it's all back together. It runs good, it shifts pretty good. I actually haven't driven it on the road very much yet, so we're waiting to do that, give the clutch a little bit of break-in time. But yeah, it's great to have it back together. It's great to drive it. I can tell you one thing, and that is that the new Napa clutch feels way different than the the old style clutch ever did. The old clutch had 3 fingers on the pressure plate, and the new Napa one, it has like 15 or something. So the new one feels way different, but I think I'll get used to it. I've been driving the 87 1-ton around a whole bunch, and that's a whole different world, so of course this is going to feel way different than that ever did. Of course the manual steering and whatnot, the NP435 shifter's longer, you know, the whole kit and caboodle, but it is great to see it back out in the sunshine. This truck just looks so good. Can camera to focus for you and give everybody a nice overview of that really greasy 390 right there. Some unfinished wiring projects happening over there. Anything electrical you just ignore, you know. As I was saying earlier in the first video, of course you can see that's a factory Ford stake bed, is what this is. Now this isn't mounted the way it was from the factory. From the factory, the stake bed side would have been level with the bump in the body. There was, oh, I don't know, a 6 or 8 inch timber in between the frame and the flatbed, and at some point prior to my ownership somebody took that timber out and just put the stake bed, the flatbed, they put it on the frame, and it's actually welded on there. So from the factory this would have been right about there, but I still think it looks pretty good. I of course still want the stake bed sides to put on it someday, so I get that factory original look. The way this thing would have looked in 1967 when it was delivered to Fairbanks, Alaska. But yeah, not a whole lot more to talk about. Like I say, the clutch is back together, and that's just great. I'm gonna enjoy driving this thing a lot more. Never mind that really jank exhaust just dangling down there. I've been meaning to do something proper about that for as long as I've owned the truck, basically. Passenger side door is locked. I'll go around to the driver's side. Give everybody a view. I don't quite remember if anybody got a view of the way it looks put back together. Got the super cheapo Summit Bosch tachometer in there. Radio, CB radio goes on that aluminum panel down there. I made that. The original first aid kit still on the kick panel on the passenger side. Even have a Golden Valley Electric. I even have a Golden Valley Electric key tag that's probably been on this truck for 55 years now. If not, If it hasn't been on the truck that long, it certainly has belonged there that long. But, for those that might be curious, this is actually a shifter from a F-600, 1966, I believe. And that's why it's long, and it does hit the transfer case shifter when you're in second gear. It will go down and hit it, but I never really worry about it. They eclipse, they pass each other when it's in 4 low, so it's not really a super big deal. I never really worried about it. Have the company number and the Alaska State buckle your seatbelt sign. Actually says Alaska Highway Safety Planning Agency on it. That was probably put on when the truck was new. Got that classic bump side door, just almost click close. So like I might have said earlier, I'm not going back and rewatching that video to figure out what I did and did not say, but the NP435 is not original to this truck, and neither is the engine. The engine's a 390, and the NP435 was from a 1973 is the tag on it, and the engine's actually pre-1972. The casting number on the crankshaft's 2U, which is a 390 crankshaft made 1968 to 1972, I believe. I'm sure somebody might correct me if I'm wrong, but the engine and transmission aren't original together, and they're not original to the truck, but everything from the transfer case out is original. So the axles are original, the frame, the whole body and everything. So it doesn't really matter to a lot of people except me, but I really dig the history around this truck and whatnot. And one thing I would like to find one of these days is the original little dial hubs that they put on in 1967 only. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope y'all liked this.